degrees, your reference angles 30, 45, and 60. But we still need to talk about what's this degree right here on my hand? And good. So 0 degrees is right here. 90 degrees is right here. And then we also need to talk about what if they're on this axis, just like these. So this degree is what right here? 180. And it's going to be very similar to 0 degrees, what it's across from. And then what's right here?
270.
And that's going to be very similar to 90.
And the bottom is 360 on the right.
Yes, it's 360 and 0, same thing. All right, go ahead and draw a point on each axis. And let's just assume that I just went 1 over from each one. Okay, so this point, if I went 1 over, would be what as a coordinate point? 1 what? Good. All right, this coordinate point, again, just imagine I went 1 up, so it'd be what?
0, 1.
All right, this one would be, good, and this one would be?
0, negative 1.
So notice that these are the exact same except our x values are positive and negative. These are the exact same except our y values are positive and negative. Let's start with 0 degrees. We're going to find the 3 trig functions just like we did on this table for 0. So I'm going to say sine theta, cosine theta, tan theta equals equals equals. Alright, on my hand, which one is 0 degrees? My thumb. Alright, you can try it if you want to. You'd put it down. Alright, on my left side, this represents cosine or sine? Left is what? Cosine. And we always take the square root of our fingers, so square root of 4, and it's always going to be over 2. And I'll write a 2 on my hand. So, no. Square root of 4 over 2. So what's the square root of 4 again? Over 2? No, square root of 4, which is 2 over 2. And what is 2 over 2? And what did we just find? What trig function? Nope. On the left side, cosine. Very good. So cosine of 0 degrees is always going to be 1. Alright, same degree, 0. And cosine's on this side, sine's on this side. Are there any numbers on this side of my nub? So it's going to be square root of
4.
What's on this side? 0. What is square root of 0? Over 2? 0. So what of 0 is 0? What did we just find? Sine. Very good. Alright, now tangent is going to be square root of 0 over square root of 4. So square root of 0 over square root of 4. Good. That's it. Easier way, your x value is always going to be your cosine on these. Your y value is always going to be your sine value. And then you divide them to get tan. Okay, what degree did I say is like 0? 180. Good. What's across from it? 180 degrees. So sine of theta is going to be very similar. It's going to be 0. Cosine of theta, instead of 1, is going to be negative 1. Good, because our x value is negative. Tan is still going to be 0. Very good. So they're exact same, except you just swap the sine for cosine. All right. Perfect. And we'll get to that in a minute. Next one we'll do is 90 degrees, which is what finger for the hand trick? Pinky. Let's do cosine first. Cosine's on my left or right side? Good. So how many fingers? So square root of 0? Over 2? 0. And that's what did we just find? Cosine. Good. So cosine of 90 degrees is 0. Sine. Now let's do sine, which is on this side. So how many fingers? Good. Square root of 4 is divided by 2. Would be what? 1. Very good. So sine of 90 is 1. Alright. tan is going to be sine over cosine. So it'll be square root of 4, which is what? 2 over square root of 0, which is? So 2 over 0? Undefined. Very good. You can just put U in. And what is similar to 90 degrees? 270. What do you think is the only thing that's going to change? Sine. Sine's going to be what now? Good. -1. Cosine's still going to be, and tangent's still going to be undefined. Very good. Now you will have a checkpoint at the beginning of class tomorrow on these values, finding these values using the hand trick. Okay, so that's why we're practicing it today. Any questions about your reference angle? These are all your reference angles in quad 1, which we did 30, 45, 60, 0, 90, and then 180 and 270, just go with them. Alright, flip it. So this is all we're working on today. First we're going to find the reference angle, and the reference angle has to be what?
30, 45, 60.
30, 45, or 60. Perfect. Alright, and then after we find the reference angle, we will find the measure of it using our hands. And then we have to go back and determine what sign it's going to be, positive or negative, based on your quadrant.
You mean quadrant?
Yes. So starting with 120 degrees, what quadrant is that in? 2. Very good.
60 degrees.
Alright, so if it's in quadrant 2, how do we find its reference angle?
180.
Good. So that's going to be what?
60.
Good. So we're finding cosine of 60. So we're going to use our hand. And I want you to practice this because you're about to do some on your own. Which finger do I put down for 60?
Your ring finger.
Okay. Which side is cosine?
Left side.
So square root of 1 is?
1.
Over 2 is? Good. So it's 1/2. Now let's check our sign. And you might want to write this up here, so you won't have to keep flipping back and forth. What trig functions are positive in quadrant 1? All. What about quadrant 2? Sine and... Good. What about quadrant 3? All students take and calculus. Good. So we're looking at quad 2. Is cosine going to be positive? Yes or no? Nope, because the only ones that can be positive are sine or cosecant. So this should be negative. Questions about that? What's what for? This? To figure out which trig functions are positive in each one. So in quad 1, all of the trig functions are positive. In quad 2, just sine and cosecant. And this one, tangent and cotangent. In quad 4, just cosine and secant. Alright. Darian, 315 is in quadrant what?
And what's that at the bottom of the
I can't hear you. What'd you say? Good. What'd you say, Antonio? Cosine and secant. Alright, so Victor, in quadrant 4, how do I find this reference angle?
It's 45 degrees.
Yes, how did you get that?
Because that's in 5.
Good. Somebody else tell me how if you didn't know that.
360 minus 350.
Yes. So if you know that, that's fine. You're good. So it'd be finding the same thing as sine of 45 degrees. Alright, which finger represents 45?
The second finger, the middle finger.
Good. Which side is sine on this one, left or right?
Right.
So square root of
2
over 2.
1.
Good. Square root of 2 over 2. Alright, in quadrant 4, is sine positive? Nope, so it's got to be negative square root of 2 over 2.
What you said last part again? You said...
In quadrant 4, only cosine and secant are positive. This one's sine.
Okay.
It's going to be negative.
Oh, so it's only going to be the radical stuff, maybe not the 45 degree. It's not going to change.
Nope. Alright, Logan, 210, what quadrant is that in?
Third.
Very good. So, Kaya, how do I find the reference angle for quadrant 3? Very good. What is 210 minus 180? Okay. So same thing as finding tan of 30 degrees. Which finger is 30?
Oh, wait, the first one.
Pointer. Good. Alright, tan is the same thing as what over what? Sine over cosine. So sine's on this side. How many fingers? So square root of 1 is 1. And then on this side, how many fingers?
3.
So square root of 3 is just square root of 3, right?
You can't do that.
Yes, you're going to have to change it. We're going to have to multiply the top and bottom by what?
One square root of 3.
We have to multiply the top and bottom by what? Thank you. So on top we'll have, very good. And in quadrant 3, is tan positive or negative? Positive. Very good. Alright, we'll do one more together, then I'm going to let you try some on your own. 90 degrees, what quadrant?
On the axis.
Yes, it's on the axis. Good. So what finger represents 90? Pinky. Which side is sine, left or right?
Right.
So square root of 4 is?
2.
Over 2 is? 1. Very good.
What did you mean left or right?
On, like, if I put a finger down, on this side, these fingers represent cosine, this side represents sine. Alright, last one together. 2 pi over 3. How do I figure out what degree that is? Go ahead. So 2 times 180 divided by 3 will be... Alright, and 120 is in what quadrant? 2. Very good. So, Alyssa, how do I find its reference angle? And that would give you what? Okay. So sine of 60, that's going to be what finger? And what side, left or right? Left or right. Alright, so square root of? Over? Good?
I think it's square root of 3.
How many fingers? Alright, and then this was in quad what right here? 2, so is sine positive or negative? Very good. Alright, I want you to do 6, 7, 8, and 9 on your own. 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me know if you need some help. Make sure you check for signs, whether it's positive or negative. Yes, for some reason I don't think of that.
I was trying like 11 times 8 divided by 6.
Oh, yeah.
Like in this office practice, if you do that side, you like a long division on paper and everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can use that.
Thank you.
You can check the just plug this in. And
Wait, how are you going to show me?
like cosine has 120, so put that down here. It's going to tell you out. You can use that.
Like you come here.
Yeah, and you won't know that. That's on each number. So that gives you a good number, right? Okay. So it's either that would be 360 or 180. Let's see what. Next. Victor. Anybody need more time? Okay. I'll give you another minute, then we'll go over the answers. Alright, let's go over these. Amber, what'd you get for number 6? Amber, what'd you get for number 6?
I got a negative square root of 3 over 5.
Very good. I need to go over this one?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Somebody tell me, first of all, what's 11 pi over 6? 330? That's in quad what?
4.
Good. So,
Teachers, just want to give you a quick reminder to stop by the media center to pick up your Valentine's tree. Thank you.
so to find the reference angle, if it's in quad 4, you do 360 minus whatever the angle is. So that would give you 30. So tan of 30, same thing as what over what?
Cosine. Sine of cosine.
Yes. So if I put down 30 degrees, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. If I put down 30, sine of 30 is going to be on this side. So it'd be square root of 1. And then cosine of 30 would be square root of what? Okay. So once I get this, I have to multiply the top and bottom by,
One would be square root because of the other.
what's the square root of 1? 1. That's why it's not under a root.
Oh.
And then you multiply the top and bottom by square root of 3, which gives you square root of 3 over 3. It has to be negative because it's in quad 4. The only thing positive in quad 4 has to be cosine or secant. Questions about that? Alright, Darren, what'd you get for number 7? Square root of negative 2. That's it? Over 2? Anybody get anything different?
I didn't get negative. I got a positive. I didn't get negative.
What's 3 pi over 4? What degree?
I had got 45 minutes, 45 degrees.
Somebody tell me what's 3 times 180 divided by 4? 135. So its reference angle will be cosine 45. 135 is in what quadrant, Antonio? 2. So in quadrant 2, only sine and cosecant are positive. That's why it's negative. Questions? Alright, Kyle, what'd you get for number 8? Everybody agree? Very good. Do I need to go over it?
Yes.
Alright, then what quadrant is 210 in? 3. How do I find its reference angle?
270 minus 210.
210 minus 180. That might have been what you did. 210 minus 180 would give us what? Sine of 30. Everybody agree it's sine of 30? Its reference angle? Very good. So right here you just put down 30. Square root of 1 is 1 over 2. Alright, and Brandon, what'd you get for number 9?
I got negative square root of 2.
Everybody agree? Do we need to go over it? Alright. The only 2 that I want to go over is 3 is one like these right here. 11, 12, and 13. And then once I go over these, you're going to do the rest, be working on your own.
Yeah, how'd you get negative for number 9?
What now?
How'd you get negative for number 9?
Because this is in quad 2, 150, right? The only thing positive in quad 2 is sine and cosecant. Alright, for cosecant right here, what's the opposite of cosecant?
Sine.
Yes. So this is the same thing as like 1 over sine, right? Which means all we have to do here is find sine of what? And then do what with it? Flip it. Good. So sine of 30 be this one. And sine's on this side. So sine of 30 is what? 1/2. Very good. So when I flip this, it's what? 2 over 1, which is just 2. And then this is 30 degrees, so is this going to be positive or negative? 30's in what quadrant? 1, and everything's positive in quadrant 1. Alright, secant is the opposite of what? So it'd be, we find the cosine of whatever this is and then flip it. 135's in what quad? How do we find its reference angle? Yep. Which would be what? So cosine of 45 degrees. We put down what finger? And then cosine's on this side, so square root of over 2. And we need to do what with it now? Flip it. Can we leave it like this?
No.
We have to multiply by what? Root 2 on top and bottom. So the top would be over, which simplifies to what? Root 2. Very good. One other thing. Is this going to be positive or negative? Negative. Very good. Questions about that? Yes.
So basically it would be like what we were doing, but since it's like it's opposite, you just flip it.
Very good. Alright, last one. Cotangent is the opposite of what? Tangent. So that means that cotangent is what over what?
Sine cosine.
That's tangent.
No, cosine over sine.
So cosine over sine. Good. Go ahead and tell me what 11 pi over 6 is. 330?
We still flip it. It's like, you know how we don't flip the other one back to its original? Like, we still do sine cosine back to its original.
No, we can go ahead and flip this one since we know what it is. Alright, what's 330's reference angle? How do we find it? Alright, so reference angle would be 30. So we're finding cosine of 30 divided by sine of 30. Alright, so I'm covering up this one. Cosine would be what? Square root of 3. Sine of 30 would be what? 1. Very good. So it's square root of 3. But let's go back and check our signs. What quadrant were we in? 4. Is cotangent positive in quad 4?
No.
Nope. So it's going to be negative root 3. Very good. Alright, you are working on the rest of these, and I'll be glad to check them if you want me to check them row by row.